Am I the a-hole for telling my mom she was an unwanted guest? My wife has had a stressful time at work and was looking forward to a vacation at her grandparents' cabin. She brought a few books she wanted to read, and I brought my fishing rod. She had no plans to entertain. My dad stopped by to go fishing. It was supposed to be just my dad stopping by for the day, but somehow my mom inserted herself and I was shocked to see her. My wife had no plans to entertain her. I told my mom that. My mom bought stuff for lunch and dinner and tried to engage my wife into making dinner for us all, and my wife said no. She's relaxing and reading. If my mom wanted to cook, that's my mom's prerogative. My dad and I get back late, and at the table my mom started to complain how she did this all herself. I looked at my wife, who just took her plate and ate in her room. My mom started to complain to me about it, and I told my mom she technically wasn't invited and my wife had no expectations to entertain her in my wife's cabin while my wife is on vacation. My mom started saying, well, she wouldn't have came if she knew that. I told my mom next time take the hint. If you aren't invited, don't come. My parents left after dinner. My mom complained that my wife should have tried to be a gracious hostess, and I said maybe my mom should try not being an unwanted guest. Congrats to your wife for actually prioritizing her wants and not succumbing to the pressure to entertain and host. Opie replies, my mom thinks reading is boring, so she thought she was doing my wife a favor. My mom has never got it through her head that some people read for fun. Maate, you are the a-hole. Your first paragraph tells you are the a-hole. Your wife has had a stressful time at work. The trip to the cabin is an escape for her, no finger lifting. No hosting. So what do? You invite your dad. Knowing from past experience your mom will likely jump in because, as you say, she does this all the time. And then you leave the two of them to it because you and your dad are gone fishing. Bet you two had a great time. And then you come back to find your wife has been made to feel uncomfortable and restricted in her own family's place. Again, knowing that your mom invites herself and behaves this way all the time. Drama ensues. How restful for your wife. You blame your mom for all this, get a few digs in. Dude, wipe the dirt and denial off that mirror. That's you staring back at yourself. You're to blame. Info. So you invited your dad, but not your mom? How did that conversation go down? Could your dad have reasonably gotten the impression they were both invited? Was your dad invited for dinner? Edit. Not the a-hole. But in future, it's on you to maintain boundaries with your mother. OP replies, my dad was invited fishing. There was no dinner plans. My mom got in the car and thought my wife would have a girl's day with her because my sisters fall for that crap. My wife doesn't and has no chill. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my parents I didn't have a kid? They did, and they need to take care of her, not me? My parents had me 15F when they were 18 and 19. They always made it so obvious they resented being parents so young and added to that they never tried to be good parents. I typically spend most of my time at friends' houses. I don't have extended family to rely on. They disowned my parents for having me so young. So friends' houses were a positive in my life that made me feel more comfortable than being at home with my parents. My parents never did the typical parent stuff like helping with homework or showing up to support me at school. I don't think they ever attended a parents' conference for me. They ignored a lot of stuff I needed to get signed, and I'd have to get right in their face on the last day to get signatures. My birthday and Christmas have never been a big deal or celebration. They do celebrate their wedding anniversary, but that's a them thing. When they told me 2 years ago they were expecting a baby, it really surprised me, but then it hurt because sometimes they said stuff that made me feel like I didn't exist. Like how they were so excited to have a baby and how they couldn't wait to be parents. A friend of my mom's did remind her of me, but then she and dad said I was basically the too early practice run, and this was the real deal. When my sister was born, they were so attentive to her that I ceased to exist completely. I got sick and my school was trying to call someone to pick me up early, but they ignored the calls, and when I got home, they had taken the baby out for a family day. When they got home, they hadn't even realized the school called because they turned off their phones to enjoy family time. My mom quit her job a month after my sister was born. She wants to be a Sam, and she and dad want at least one more kid. My dad leaves work early on Fridays so he can spend more time with the family mom and sister. My parents tried to have another kid for over a year and mom isn't pregnant yet, so they're jumping to fertility treatments. They told me I need to watch my sister for a few hours every week while they attend those appointments, and they gave me this detailed list of stuff she needs and what I'm going to do with her. I told them I won't, and that they had her so they need to take care of her because she's not my kid. My parents told me it's a few hours a week and not a huge deal. Dad told me I need to look at it as paying back all they did for me. I said no and told them they don't give a crap about me, so why would I want to help them? Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole neglecting to pick you up when you are sick and calling your life a practice run is such a horrible thing to get from your parents, and I'm sorry they have neglected you. Opie replies, "It is, but I'm used to it." They were showing all that without words for years. Though the practice run part is funny to me because what practice did they get? I can't say they ever really did much / any parenting, so it's just like, what are they talking about? They didn't make the most of their practice run for people who see me that way. Tell them you'll do it if they can name your favorite food, favorite color, and best friend. When they can't, tell them you'll be giving their baby exactly as much attention as they have given to you over the years. Give them that wake-up call. They clearly need it. Not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for threatening to sue both the school and the family of my daughter's bully? I, 30M, and my husband, 33M, have a 11-year-old daughter who's been going through severe bullying at school. It's just keep getting worse. It started off with just name-calling but has gotten worse over the past few weeks. Context. She's adopted, which is something we've always been open about and celebrated as part of her story. Recently, some kids found out about her adoption and started saying horrible things, telling her stuff like her birth mother didn't want her. They tell her that she's unwanted, tell her she a reject. Which is not the case. Her mother loved her very much to the point she literally gave her life so she could be here. If this wasn't bad enough, a few days ago, she came home in tears with her hair butchered. They'd cut off 2 inches of her ponytail while in class, all while taunting her names and laughing at her reaction. They will follow her through the halls to make fun of her on a regular basis now. Both my husband and I have been in touch with the school about the bullying more times than I can count. I emailed, called, even showed up in person to speak with teachers and the principal, but all I got were empty promises that they'd look into it. Nothing changed, and my daughter's mental health has taken a hit. She's anxious, struggling to sleep, and now begs us not to send her to school. Finally, out of frustration and feeling like no one was taking this seriously, we reached out to a lawyer to explore legal action against both the school and the bully's family. Only when the school and her parents learned we were considering a legal action did they start to act. Suddenly, the school calls me to say they're moving the bully out of my daughter's class and claim they had a talk with her. The girl's parents reached out too, saying they'd talked to their daughter and promised it would stop. But honestly, I don't believe them. It feels like they're all saying this just to get me to back off and avoid the legal consequences. I worry that once the dust settles, things will go right back to how they were, and my daughter will still be dealing with this. My family thinks I should give the school and parents a chance now that they're finally taking action, but I feel like it's all for show. So, am I the a-hole for moving forward with legal action even though the school and the bully's parents now claim they're handling it? Not the a-hole one of my a-hole classmates to me and everyone else. I was adopted when I was in 6th grade. My parents were waiting to tell us when we were both old enough to understand. My brother wasn't quite old enough yet. For me, it was a light bulb moment. That's why there's no picture of mom pregnant. For a group of kids at school, it was a reason to bully me. I heard the same things your daughter did, and it didn't bother me. It was how relentless it was. I developed anxiety and stomach issues due to the bullying. One day, a good portion of everyone in the cafeteria was laughing at me because of what one of the man bullies said. I didn't want to go to school. I got sick after lunch nearly every day and had to go home. I had all kinds of doctor's appointments to try to find out what was wrong with me medically that was causing the stomach issues. The school even tried to say my problem was I was upset about being adopted and was making myself sick. No amount of anything my parents did helped. It only got better after the school year ended and we were all in different classes. Next story. Am I the a-hole for letting my sister go thirsty through an entire meal? My sister does this thing where she'll just say something she wants with the expectation that someone will do it for her. For example, if she wants the AC turned on, instead of asking someone to turn it on for her, she'll keep repeating things like, "Oh, isn't it super warm in here? Does anyone else feel really hot?" Or, "I heard that today is a super hot day." And if someone asks her if she wants the AC on, She'll reply with, "No, I'm good." But if you're hot, then you should turn it on. Anyways, last weekend it was my birthday, so my family and I went out to celebrate. During the meal, she kept making comments implying that she wanted another cocktail, but wouldn't order it. The waitress even came by and asked if we needed anything, but she didn't order a drink even when we all did. I could tell she was agitated at that point, but it was my birthday, so I just ignored her. When we all got home, she got really snippy and said that it was super rude that we all got our own drinks and didn't order one for her. My brother and I brought up that she said no when the waitress asked, but she said that wasn't the issue. In her opinion, we should have known to order her a drink too because everyone else got one, and the fact that we let her go thirsty was inconsiderate, and that in the future we ought to order her drinks too. She also said that she was only saying no to the waitress because her family should have taken care of her words, not mine. The three of us have been kind of arguing back and forth about it, and I'm just tired of fighting. So I wanted to get some more opinions on whether or not I should have ordered her a drink as well. Not the a-hole, I think it would actually be considered rude to order someone another cocktail after they specifically told the waitress no. If I say I'm not drinking anymore, but someone orders me another drink anyway, I would be annoyed that they decided they knew better about my alcohol consumption than I did. When learned helplessness, weaponized incompetence, and entitlement collide. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. If she wanted a drink, she could have ordered one. Weird game she's playing, but nobody else has to play it. Next story. Am I the a-hole for giving my daughter's things back that were taken away as punishment? I'm 31 and my husband is 30. Our daughter is 7, and she found a puppy in the front yard and played with it. Turns out it belonged to our neighbors, who were looking for it. They accused her of stealing it, and my husband gave her extra chores. She refused to do them, saying she didn't steal the puppy. The neighbors came to apologize a bit later, as their son confessed to losing the puppy on a walk when he took its leash off. That's how it ended up on our yard. I came home that evening and my husband explained this. He said she should be disciplined for not doing the chores. I said she was right to not accept an earned punishment. He said it's the principle and she should listen to her father. I said I would rather die than teach her that she should lay down and accept mistreatment. We argued and he called me unreasonable. Am I the a-hole? I got into it with my husband one time years ago. My oldest son, from first marriage, was maybe 12 at the time, making a box of mac and cheese for lunch for himself and little brother. When it came time to put in the butter, he did exactly what he'd have seen me do dozens of times. Slice it up so it melts faster before pouring in cold milk. For some reason, husband took issue with him cutting up this little quarter stick of butter. Told him to just drop it in and stir it up and it will melt just fine. My son finished slicing it up while hubby got more irritated. I stepped in trying to explain he's just doing it how he's seen me do it, and trying to figure out why the hell it was such a big deal. Like, am I missing something that's wrong about slicing butter? Turned out that husband got mad because my son didn't immediately do what he said. We had a really long discussion about that kind of attitude. Fortunately, he learned his lesson on what is important to make an issue out of and what isn't. And slicing butter is not a major issue. Not the a-hole. Your husband needs to grow the F up. Part of being a person, especially an adult, is knowing when to admit you made a mistake and apologizing for it. It doesn't matter if it's to a child or another adult. He is being unreasonable. It's one thing to consider the words of a stranger and then listen to your child. People will lie or misunderstand, and that goes for kids and adults. Why would your husband believe your child was capable of stealing someone's pet? That's a pretty clear, I know my kid didn't do this type of thing. And usually rephrasing a question or explaining things gets a kid that young to admit what they did even if inadvertently. The biggest takeaway here is that strangers came back to apologize for their accusation, but dad can't manage to apologize to his own child not only for not believing her, but levying a punishment with zero facts. No one should blindly listen to an adult when the adult is wrong. That sets a terrible precedent of a child not knowing when it's safe to refuse anything from unwanted contact from a family member or being forced to do something they know is wrong. Next story. Am I the a-hole for encouraging my daughter not to watch her cousin or clean up his mess? Whenever my sister Lynn goes to any family event, She never watches her own kids and expects everyone else to, including my own children, who have complained about it. She will leave the room with her toddler that acts like a wild animal. I told my children 10 and 13 not to be duped into watching that brat. My 13-year-old daughter left the room when my sister left her alone with her kid to gossip with my mom. My daughter got up and left. Lynn's toddlers pulled all the food off by the tablecloth and spilled red pasta sauce all over my mom's carpet. The kid was screaming, and Lynn started to yell at my daughter when I told Lynn it was her responsibility to watch her own kids. Lynn said she thought my daughter was watching the baby. I asked her, "Did you ask my daughter to?" Lynn said she thought my daughter was smart enough to watch kids if they were alone with them. My daughter said maybe Lynn should be smarter next time she thinks of having kids that she can't control or watch. Yes, this was rude, and I laughed. My mom told my daughter to help pick up the mess because she helped cause it. My daughter refused, saying it was Lynn's fault because she let her kids run around like animals. My mom said we could all leave because we had no respect for her or her house. My daughter said she wouldn't be back until her grandmother and aunt respected her. I took my kids home. My mom thinks I should punish or talk to my daughter and make her apologize, but I won't. I don't think my daughter did anything wrong, and it's Lynn's fault for not watching her own brats. Honestly, at the age your kids are, I would say entirely not the a-hole. Not only for how you are supporting them to express their feelings and needs, but also not bend to the pressure. Don't accept responsibility for things that are out of your control and you haven't agreed to be your responsibility, and teach your children the same. You seem to be doing an excellent job on that. The retort your daughter gave was indeed rude. It would have been better to not say things about others' reproductive choices, because it is quite obvious she is picking up these opinions and judgments from her parents. But either way, the parent is the responsible person for whatever the child did, even if there was another minor babysitting. Not the a-hole. Lynn should hire a babysitter if she can't keep track of her kids. Good on you for supporting your kids in this situation. I can see how in many families the responsibility could be rolled onto the shoulders of the older kids and force them to babysit just by default, which honestly isn't right. Parents need to be responsible for their own kids. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share, and subscribe the channel our posts.